Welcome back to Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. Visit speciesnutrition.com. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today's guest has been a friend of mine for many, many years. He is the president of the Canadian Physique Alliance, and I'd like to welcome him to the show, Ron Hache. Welcome.
Hey, glad to be here.
Yeah, we had a little bit of technical difficulty getting here, but we're here. We're here, Ron, and you've been doing some great things up in Canada for many, many years now, and I didn't even realize when I asked you how long you've been in the bodybuilding game. You said 45 years. Can you believe how long it's been?
Yeah, time just flies. But I mean, like yourself, I started as a bodybuilder.
Yeah.
When I competed, it wasn't like back in the day where it was just height classes. It was weight classes in my day. But I started as a bodybuilder. But I want to show your viewers something here, just so that they know you're actually talking to me in Canada. Here, I'm just going to move this here. Okay, it's May 1st. You have your air conditioner on because you should turn it off right now.
Yeah, well, it's very hot. It's 85 degrees here. Oh, nice snow.
This is what I got to deal with. May 1st here in Canada. And we're only like 200 miles from Toronto, but you'd think we were in the North Pole here. So,
wow.
Yeah, it is truly Canada.
I don't feel bad for you, Ron. I got to tell you, I left New York 2.5 years ago, and now I don't miss the snow, that's for sure.
Yeah. Anyway, how am I? Am I adjusted okay here?
You're perfect. Now let's talk about Canadian bodybuilding, because back in the day, if you had one or two pros out of Canada, you were lucky. Obviously Paul Dillette, probably the most popular IFBB pro out of Canada, maybe the biggest too. But nowadays it seems like you guys are the stars of all the shows. I mean, you got from the Chris Bumsteads, Ian Valieres, the Regan Grimes. I mean, it's Mahmoud Abdullah. You guys got so many terrific guys coming out of Canada. I know everyone always jokes around it's the water, but why has the Canadian bodybuilding scene become so good lately?
Well, it's not the water, just in case you're wondering.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, we've had so many. At one time, it was tough to become a pro in Canada. There was really only one show where you can get a pro card, and to get there, you had to compete at the provincials, which here in Ontario, anyway, we'd have like 500 competitors trying to qualify for the nationals, and then it would be just the overall winners.
Right.
So there weren't many pro cards given out, and all of these names you've just talked about sort of just happened in the last 10 years.
Yeah, I'm saying, what happened? Why is there like a renaissance in Canada all of a sudden with regard to bodybuilding?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the new categories. I mean, a lot of these competitors are classic physique categories. I mean, we've had some great bodybuilders also and some great bikini athletes in the last, 10 years. But on the bodybuilding end of it, a lot of the guys excelled in the classic physique, even the men's physique.
Yeah.
And, we've had some great guys in bodybuilding, like the Fuads and stuff like that.
But even the guys who are in classic now started in bodybuilding. Chris Bumstead won in bodybuilding. Regan Grimes is a bodybuilder,
Yeah.
So, Zane Watson's a bodybuilder. You guys just have a tremendous amount of talent. Now, obviously, just recently when the split came between the IFBB Pro League and the Amateur League, and you kind of took over as the official president of the IFBB Pro League associated, a Canadian Physique Alliance. A lot more opportunity, presented itself. A lot more shows, pro qualifiers where you can get pro cards now. And I'm sure that is, getting people's juices going, so to speak, because now they feel like they have an ability to turn pro a little more easily, or a little more opportunity. I shouldn't say more easily. And it seems like the level of competition has elevated at the same time.
Well, it has. And what's happened is we've got bigger numbers now here in Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got 62 amateur shows in Canada.
Wow.
Population is, 30 million. So per capita, we're doing really well in terms of numbers. So we're getting a lot more people competing at regional events. And the regional events are qualifiers to the pro qualifiers. So the numbers have increased. We're getting better trainers. We've had a big influence from the North Americans in the U.S. market.
Sure, yeah.
Going to Gary's show and the Arnolds and the Olympia. A lot of the Canadians are now, seeing what's happening on the south side here. We're neighbors. we're basically the same as when the U.S. sneezes, we catch a cold. So when the U.S. produces all these great bodybuilders, for some reason we're influenced by all of that.
Right.
So everybody's kind of looking to the Olympia and the Arnolds. They're looking at those pictures, and the competitors here are imitating or trying to follow that guideline to look like an Olympian. So
now, obviously, the Toronto Pro is coming up. You're looking at 400 amateur guys, 120 pro people. There's every single category. It's one of the biggest shows, pro and amateur, in the world, I would say, at this point. It's a very popular weekend. It seems to be growing every single year. What do you think that that Toronto show has really taken off? Is it because it's close to the U.S. and people can kind of get to it easily?
Well, I think because it's in the center of Toronto, for one thing. It's an event that's been consistent. We've had pro shows in Canada before where, the show was held and then it was canceled the following year and then a new show showed up.
Right.
But this is going to be our 9th year. And it's the largest show in Canada, and it's the only show in the world that's got every category. I mean, we even got women's bodybuilding.
I know, it's crazy. I love it.
Yeah, we got men's wheelchair. So we didn't leave anybody out.
Yeah.
We have every category, and all the categories are getting the same amount of prize money. So even bikini and fitness,
that's awesome.
We keep it reasonable for everybody, and the proximity to the U.S. obviously makes a difference. But the fact that it's in downtown Toronto and it's June, no snow in June, it's like 75, 80 degrees. The excitement of the whole event with that expo, it's really created a nice environment. So that's why it's grown every year.
And it's right after the New York Pro, too, which is always good. You get a lot of guys from New York Pro who maybe didn't qualify or didn't do as well they wanted. They jump right into the Toronto show, and they're right up there.
Yeah, it's pretty exciting this year because it is right after the New York Pro, and the IFBB Pro League has elevated our event to the same level as the New York Pro, actually. So in terms of points for those competing at the Olympia, we're at a higher level now. So there's more points for your placing. So a lot of the competitors who might do the New York Pro, might not win it, might come in second or third, might need some extra points.
Yeah.
A week later, they can jump into my show.
Absolutely.
Now, with the extra points.
This year, you got Ian Valliere doing it, and we were just talking before the show about how the first time I had seen him compete, you brought a team of athletes down to the Latin American Amateur Olympia down in Acapulco, Mexico. We had live streamed that show on RXMuscle, and I was like, what are the Canadians doing? And then I realized it's North America. And you brought the team down, and I don't think anyone expected, you guys to do anything down there. And then Ian wins the overall down there, right?
Yeah, it was really cool because I think I brought up 3 or 4 athletes.
Yeah.
And they either won their class or got a pro card.
Yeah, I know. It was pretty funny. So
we kind of dominated that event, and we got noticed, and you were there.
Yeah, it was great.
Noticed Ian. And you knew right away that he had the potential. And
now he's looking like an absolute freak. So it'll be great to see. It was nice to see him on the Olympia stage last year, and obviously he's only getting better. Let's talk. One of the shows I wanted to talk to you about, and we had gone back and forth right after it was announced, was the new show you're holding, the Ben Weider Natural Pro event that you're going to be holding there, which will once again offer points for the people who place at that show for Olympia qualification. But a lot of, I guess you could say, controversy is surrounded how the drug testing is going to go down. What is the protocol? Is it going to be in competition testing when you get there, after you get off stage, before you go on stage? What are they testing for? And what are what are some of the rules that we should know for the show?
Yeah, well, first off, it's the first natural pro show ever. IFBB Pro League. So we're pretty excited about that. And I know you talked about it a little bit. I saw it in one of your interviews. But what we're going to be doing is we're going to be testing all of the winners. It's going to be urine sample tests.
Okay.
We'll be testing them at the show. Same kind of testing that they would do it at any natural event, except this is going to be a legitimate test. We're going to do the urine sample testing. We even have a list on the website of what we're testing for, and there's also another list that you can get at www.globaldro.com. But just to give you an idea of what we're testing for, it is on the website.
Okay.
All the winners are going to be tested, plus we're going to do a random test. So nobody really knows who's going to be tested, but we can guarantee that the winners are tested. And as long as they test negative,
Right.
you know, the day of the show, then they will get their prize money. Now,
Okay. So no checks are being
money's
sent
gonna
out
be held
until the samples. Now here, Ron, here's a question I've gotten. If you test the winners and they fail, is it really fair to go to second place if you're not testing second place too?
Yeah, we had a conversation that, you know, Gary Udit's running the show with me with the approval of you know, Jim Mannion approved all of this. So we had a conversation about that, and we decided, listen, if the winner tests positive, it's just not fair to give it to a second person, the second place that hasn't been tested.
Right.
So you know, we're hoping everybody's going there for that reason, that it's because they're natural and they've been asking for this event. So if you test positive, the money's just going to stay in a pot for the following year.
Okay. What about the points? Do you lose your points if you fail?
You lose your points and you're out of it for a year. So, I mean, we're serious about this. So it's not just about failing and, okay, I can't go to the Olympia now. If you're going to fail the test, it means you cheated. You know, you're going to be penalized. So you're out for a year before you can compete in any event.
Now, because you're giving Olympia points for the top 5 placings, shouldn't you test all the top 5 guys?
We're only giving Olympia points to the winners.
Okay, gotcha. That's important to know.
Yeah, 5 points to the winners to go towards the Olympia. And, you know, we're hoping that this year is going to be a really nice turnout. It's kind of like our test run, but we want to keep it going. You know, eventually we're hoping that it will be an official Olympia qualifier.
What about the prize money? What's the prize money?
On how many phone calls I've gotten from pros, natural pros, that still want to hit the Olympia stage.
Why not?
And yeah, they want to qualify to the Olympia. It's just an honor to be on that stage and to be competitive and to compete. So I think Jim Mannion heard us, and that's why he allowed to give the point for this year.
What's the prize money going to be for these placings?
Well, the prize money is going to be the same as we usually do at the Toronto Pro Show. It's not going to be as much, but we're looking at, you know, for all of the smaller classes like bikini and all those other classes, it'll be, I believe, $6,000 US. And then for the open class, we're going to be offering a bigger prize. We haven't discussed it, but it'll be more than the normal 6. I know that prize money is an important factor, but for some reason, most of the natural guys I talk to want that qualification. The money doesn't seem to be as important.
The money is not really that important. Most bodybuilders would compete for nothing, but the point is, you know, to get something to validate you, I think, especially for a first-year show, if it catches on, obviously, and you get a lot of sponsors, I can understand you increasing the prize money. I just worry, how many placings are getting prize money?
Say that again. How many places?
How many places are, like, first top 3?
Top 3, that's it.
Okay. Now, because of that, I mean, do you have to technically, should you really test the top 3 since the top 3 will be getting money?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Because it becomes expensive, I know.
At least they're getting money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, likely we're not going to test the top 3 to get the money. For this year, we want to test all the winners. You know, like, we may change it in the future, but we're also doing the amateur part of it. There's going to be a lot of testing. There's a lot of cost in testing, but we do want to make it legitimate. We do want to give it credibility. Right. I mean, it'd be great if we tested every competitor, but it would just be too costly to get it done, especially on the first year. Right.
Do you ever, you know, if this catches on, Ron, and everyone gets like kind of into this whole thing, and you do make it like a fully tested show, and you start to get a lot of competitors entering it, do you think that we would ever see like a natural Olympia?
Well, listen, this Ben Weider Naturals is kind of like a tribute to Ben Weider, who's the brother of Joe Weider. We got the Joe Weider Olympia. Right. So this year is kind of like our Ben Weider Olympia. Let's just say, because Ben Weider was the guy when it came to trying to get this sport in the Olympics. You remember those days?
Of course.
Used to give us a big speech at every show that we're close and this and that. This is the closest it'll probably get to the Olympics. But who knows? This might be the start of something great on the natural stage. Right.
I think it's great because it gives an option, you know, to people who choose not to use drugs and would like to be rewarded and acknowledged. And I think it'll be popular on social media. I think social media will eat this up because it'll be interesting to see who can look good without using, you know, the performance enhancing supplements.
Yeah, it's kind of great that the guys that aren't using the gear are actually wanting to compete. And what's really cool about this show is, you know, they're going to get to show their stuff. But I notice I'm getting a lot of support from a lot of the, you know, like supplement companies and the mainstream. You know, they kind of like this idea of this natural show. And I mean, in Canada, at our Natural Canada last year, we had like 500 competitors. So that was a pretty good sign. Right. And in the U.S., I know Gary's running a lot more natural shows now because there is a demand for it. So I think this is going to be a good thing.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you guys are doing a great job, and I want to just congratulate you on that. And just, I think the whole Canadian bodybuilding scene is very healthy, and I think it has a lot to do with the time and passion that you put into the sport. You know, obviously, people don't realize it's tough to go to shows every single weekend. Are you finding that you're still doing that, or are you kind of delegating more nowadays?
Well, yeah, listen, last year I must have did 40 shows.
Wow.
So I'm still going to a lot of shows, but I got a great team. You know, some great head judges, you know, Rudy Jambrozik, and I got a great team of people, Tammy Becker's on Facebook, and Cindy Popovich doing, you know, a lot of my social media stuff. Yeah, you can't do it. You can't be an island. You can't do it alone. You need a lot of support.
Still, Ron, 40 shows to go to a year. That's every weekend you're traveling almost.
Well, yeah, well, we have 65 shows, so some weekends we have 3-4 shows on the same weekend. And you know, Canada, I'm in Ontario. Vancouver's like a 5.5-hour flight.
I know, it's a big country you guys got there.
Yeah, but we're, you know, listen, we're using the NPC style judging, and you know, we just want to ensure that the credibility of the judging is important, and that so we're training all the judges. And last year was a transition year. This year is we're more comfortable with everything. And everybody has actually switched over to the Canadian Physique Alliance, which is under the IFBB Pro League. So we're pretty happy with the way things are going, and the numbers are great. Every show that we're running is very successful.
And you guys are putting out top quality competitors, so obviously you're doing something right up there.
Yeah, we have some great competitors. You know, we even have like our trainers. You know, a lot of the trainers, we like to get them on board, and a lot of them like to judge shows. So what we've done is told them, listen, you can't be a trainer and judge a show. So we've turned them into ambassadors. So a lot of the trainers are ambassadors, and you know, they're staying in touch with us, and you know, they got some great clients, and they know their stuff. They've learned a lot in the past years, and I think the fact that they're sort of getting in the judge's head in terms of what we're looking for is helping a lot. In the past, the trainers weren't really sure what the judges were looking for. They're doing their due diligence. They're getting more educated, and maybe that's why they're turning out better athletes. And the judges are rewarding them.
I always like the Canadian judging standards. I think you guys really reward conditioning and you know, size a little bit more sometimes than we see in some of the American shows. And so I always said Canada's a little more hardcore than the U.S. nowadays.
Yeah, well, we have been hardcore. I mean,
yeah, I like it.
You know, I see you at the North Americans, and you know, when we show up there with 2,000 competitors, you better be on the ball.
Sure.
But listen, we're neighbors. Listen, with the new NPC worldwide, we're kind of like different than the rest of the world. I really think Canada and the U.S. we're kind of like we're the same. You know.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have a good relationship with Jim Mannion, obviously, and there is a lot of crossover there. And I think with the fact that the federations have split, and that, you know, what you're doing here with the IFBB Pro League and creating more pro, you know, qualifiers up in Canada, I only see Canadian bodybuilding getting bigger and bigger, and that's good for pro bodybuilding because we're getting a lot of great competitors into the pro league. So, Ron, I want to congratulate you on what you're doing. Best of luck at the Toronto show and, of course, the Ben Weider Cup in the fall. And you'll keep us updated as new events happen.
Yeah, well, I appreciate you, you know, having this conversation with me. And I know you support Canada all the way.
Absolutely. I got a lot of Canadian clients.
Yeah, and that's fantastic. So, you know, we're going to keep it going here, and it's just going to continue to grow. By the way, we do have another pro show coming on in New York. It's going to be on November. Mindy O'Brien and Bob Cicciarello are putting something together. So,
oh, really?
You know, it's going to be in Niagara Falls. So
nice.
Yeah, if you're thinking of coming up for a second honeymoon, you know, this would be the place to come to. But
only if it's in the summer, not in the winter. That's for sure.
But between the Vancouver Pro, Toronto Pro show, and the show that's happening in New York, we really got it covered here in Canada, and you know, we really feel good about the future. So it's going to grow.
We don't consider Niagara Falls, well, when I was in New York, I'm not in New York, I'm a Floridian now, but when I was in New York, we didn't consider Niagara Falls really New York, but we considered it Canada.
Yeah.
We'll throw you Niagara Falls, you guys can have it.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get a lot of competitors from that area, Niagara Falls, Buffalo.
Yeah.
I mean, you're a hop, skip, and jump away. You can just drive across.
That's right. That's right.
We're there.
All right, Ron. Great talking to you again. Thank you for joining us, and I appreciate the big update.
All right. Take care, and all the best to you, too.
All right. And that's going to take us, guys, to the end of another episode of Live With, brought to you by Species Nutrition. I'm Dave Palumbo. We'll see you next time.